As the United States of America goes into the fourth decade of the 19th century, we face the greatest challenge as a nation since the Civil War. We are about to face a challenge so great that it will require the citizens to join together in a joint force to conquer evil on both the home front and the battlefront. We are about to face the Second World War. December 7th, 1941. Naval base at Pearl Harbor, a wonderful Sunday morning in Hawaii. The soldiers, unaware of the events to come, were sleeping or playing ball. Little did they know they were about to witness one of the most tragic events in all of U.S. history.
Golly, what a fine morning. What time is it, Petty Officer Calaroso?
7:40 on the dot, sir.
I wasn't aware of any flight work today. Gabriel, why do we have planes in the sky?
There shouldn't be planes flying on Sunday, sir. By golly, those are bats!
We're under attack, sound the alarms.
The United States was attacked for the first time since the War of 1812. This day would go down in history as one of the most devastating events up until the September 11th attacks.
Come in. What's happening?
Mr. President, the Japanese have just bombed us at Pearl Harbor.
Surely you've mistaken.
I'm not mistaken, and don't call me Shirley.
Prior to the events that had ensued at Pearl Harbor, World War II had already been in full effect. The war officially began in Europe after the invasion of Poland by Germany on September 1st, 1939. On September 27th, 1940, the Japanese further entrenched themselves within the war by signing the Tripartite Act with Germany and Italy to form the Axis powers. The United States of America, angered at the events of Pearl Harbor, sought revenge. This revenge would come from a direct attack on Japan. This attack would later become known as the Doolittle Raid, led by none other than Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle himself.
I think it's time.
Time for what?
Time to take revenge for Pearl Harbor.
I agree. It will be a good morale booster for the troops here and at home.
It will be an attack on the enemy's doorstep.
Let's get our best flyers here now.
Very well, sir. I'll prepare the men.
General, we have our attack strategy.
Well, what is it?
If all goes according to plan, we should be able to land in China just after the raid and have no issues extracting.
Well, we have a plan for what would happen if that doesn't go according to plan. That's reality.
The men await your orders, so we are all ready.
The U.S. soon mobilizes its armed forces and manufacturing for wartime production. This boom in the war industry effectively ends the Great Depression. After the U.S. enters the war, a surge of patriotism sweeps the land and millions of young Americans go into the service. American forces arrive in Europe by January 26, 1942. They landed in Africa that same year as well. While the European allies fight the battles on the western front of Europe, we have to glance out towards the east, perhaps the most strategically decisive and bloodiest battle of World War II, Stalingrad.
Comrade, we have been fighting here for nearly 3 months. I think we will die from the hypothermia soon.
Don't fret, fellow comrade. These Germans will die of the cold before we do.
But look, they all have guns. And they have airplanes. We don't have any airplanes.
He's right. Those Germans, we don't have a chance.
They may have more guns, but we have more men. We will outlast those German pigs. Aye, Germans!
The Battle of Stalingrad lasted 2 months before the Soviet forces finally defeated the Germans. This battle turned around the German front in the east and ultimately led to their defeat. The war abroad took a toll on the U.S. at home. Every American pitched in, whether it was a victory garden, driving less, bonds, or even factory work. Here we see the average American family at the breakfast table.
Hey, Dad, when do you think the war is going to end?
I don't know, young liver snapper. I just know the more we do at home, the more we can help the war.
Yeah, I want our brother back.
I do too, son. But we just gotta do what we gotta do.
We actually got a letter from him just the other day.
A letter? What is that?
Well, it's a piece of paper that comes in the mail, but that's not important.
No, not that. What do the letters say?
Oh.
No wonder you got a factory job.
No. I'm sorry. The letter said he's actually fighting Japs in the Pacific, honey. What are you going to do today?
I'm gonna start selling bombs to help the war effort in our son in the Pacific.
Well, I'm gonna go back to my factory job today. Working the riveters isn't easy work, but someone's gotta do it.
Son, what do you think of this article?
Well, I can make it into a hat. I can make it into an airplane. And I can...
No, the article!
Oh, I think that's for that. They should be put in camps.
Meanwhile, on the home front, millions of Japanese were being put into camps to keep them out of the public, in fear that there were spies among them. The order, Executive Order 9066, was issued February 1942. It was not until December 18, 1944 that they were released. During the attack on Italy, the Allies were already focusing on their next move. Through the use of deception and spies, the German leadership was convinced that the attack would take place on France across the English Channel, the shortest route from England. But as history shows, the attack came from the Normandy beaches.
Alright, man, this is it. I'm going to be honest with all of you. Most of you won't make it through this. Most of you won't even make it to shore. But this is the beginning of the end for the Nazi Party and for Hitler. We need to breach these shores and brave the enemy in order to win this war. Let's go out and get them.
Yes, sir.
As we look to the west of the United States, we see a new war being waged, one that has never been fought in all of history. This war consists of brutal fighting in the air, the land, and the sea, and made for new strategies to be put to the test.
Thank you, Mr. Benny Goodman. That music was truly fine. Next up, we've got a special report. We've got none other than General Douglas MacArthur on the set. He'll be here momentarily.
Hello, Mr. Shoemaker. How are you doing on this fine day?
Good afternoon to you as well, General. I'm outstanding this fine day. Could you tell us a bit about our boys in the Pacific?
Well, we're giving those Japs hell. We're fighting back at them, and I can't say too much, but this war may be closing down Asia.
Why, General, you ought to tell us folks on the home front a bit more than that.
We're performing this tactic we like to call island hopping, and essentially what we do is we're trying to stop all transportation of goods and help to the Japanese in the Asian area, which stops them and lets them die out.
Well, General, I must commend you for that American ingenuity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Next up, we've got one of our boys who's actually seen the fight. None other than Sergeant Hayden Novus.
Yeah! Stop!
Good afternoon, Sergeant. How goes the fight?
It goes pretty well. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. So, could you tell us a bit about the conditions out there in the Pacific?
They stink right now. It's so humid, muddy inside the island nations. It's so annoying. Whenever we attempt to attack, they tend to fight back so hard. So we have to basically eliminate them all as of that.
Now I hear you're a tail gunner, so that means you're up in the air during the fighting, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Well, Mr. Novus, I commend you for your service and thank you. I hope to see you back in the United States. I'll have tour soon.
Thank you very much. Now I have to go get back to the fight now. Thank you for having me on.
Next up, we've got the king of the clarinet. That's right, folks, none other than Artie Shaw playing one of his new songs, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes.
As Hitler's empire falls apart around him, Hitler kills himself from cyanide pills. Without leadership, and with the Russians closing in, the government in Berlin decides to surrender itself to the Allies. Soon victory is declared, and now the Allies can focus on the Japanese.
Now that the Nazis have been defeated, I believe it's time for us to make peace among ourselves.
Agreed. Our world sorely lacks that safety that we provide, and we need it back.
Agreed. Russia can provide Eastern Europe with their protection.
Now, Stalin, let's not go rushing into things. Mark my words, you just can't implement your own form of government into Eastern Europe.
How about you just keep starting for time while my army can control?
Well, I guess if you allow free elections, we can give you a bit of control of Eastern Europe.
Only if I get control of Eastern Germany also.
We'll see. On another note, I believe that the war in the Far East is about to be won. You see, my country has an explosive idea.
Even in 1945, 4 years after Pearl Harbor, both the people of the U.S. and the government still craved revenge. And to end this monstrous battle, Harry Truman, who had continued with the nuclear research started by FDR, finally decided to put the research to use and bomb both Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Okay, we got the order. Let's blow up these Japs. Bombs away! Looks like they're gonna have a blast.
And within weeks after this bombardment, Japan gave an unconditional surrender to the United States and the Allied forces and withdrew from the Second World War.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, soon to be our thunder. And a boys, give us a gun, give us a gun. Down we dive, spotting a flame from under. Off with one.